What is the third question? Sorry, what is the third, Hekina?
More to do with, company secretaries. I mean, if I'm not wrong, company secretaries look after all this, I think, your compliances in terms of your contracts and all that. But I'm talking about operational risk, business risk, and compliance. So can a law person who has studied well can go into operational risk?
Yes. In fact, all over the world, abroad, people, when they do deals, when a company decides to merge with somebody else or company decides to do something with another company, then they always have a legal person on the team, and the person can tell you that if you take this risk, this may be the repercussion later. And here is where your practical experience counts. Also, as lawyers, I told you about Braille, I told you about computers. The one thing I didn't tell you about is general knowledge. You've got to have good general knowledge because you've got to know different things at different places. The variety is immense. Today you may be dealing with, today I'm doing a sale of, this morning actually, I just was finishing a sale of a cinema hall. I don't know the regulations which govern cinema halls, but I have to learn them up. I have to find out how does a cinema run. That's how it is. In the evening, I have to do somebody else's will. That person is into the stocks and trades, into shares. So what kind of securities will he have and how does he want to give it, That's a difference. So you have to know what's going on in the world. So your general reading has to be immense. You cannot just leave it to only the law books. And again, all this is available in accessible format. So no worries there. Yeah, soft copies are valid. 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 Doesn't matter. You put it on paper, you put it on email, and there's a way of proving it. There's a whole methodology for proving it, but it's possible. Okay. Tell me. You were the
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm Asha Bhatia.
Yeah.
And I have a question to you. We know a lot about BPOs, but we don't have much of an idea about LPOs.
Okay.
So please could you elaborate on that?
Yeah.
And is freelancing possible in that? And which are the firms dealing with in this field?
Okay. The LPO starts at the basic level. Like the medical transcriptionist, the first thing at the lowest level of an LPO is the transcription part of it. Lawyers abroad dictate, and that is sent over the computer, over the net, to you. You listen to it, and you transcribe it and send it back. That's the first, at the one level. The second level, which I was trying to explain to you, is the contracts. As I told you, the Hollywood movie. It's one movie, it's 150 contracts. Changes in the contracts. Okay? That's the second level. It's just basic changes, but somebody has to do them. So that's the second part of it. The third is patent writing. Patent applications. Patents are for innovations, for new medicines, for discoveries. When you innovate, when you have to file for patent, otherwise and somebody else will copy you. So when you have a new medicine, a company like say Rambaxi or Cipla or anybody else, they discover something new, a new way of dealing with the thing. They immediately run to the patent office and file an application. This gives them the right to exploit that, to use it, and nobody else is allowed to copy it. This is intellectual property. Now, patent applications are big documents. They are very complicated documents, and it takes time to write them. But there is a style of writing them. There are 7 issues and 7 points, okay? In that, you have to keep filling in the details. Name of the inventor, how was it exploited, how will it help, all that. Now, it's a format. And once it's formatted, the only thing you have to do is fill up details. So that's what is done by a LPO. Because the Americans can't afford to do it. Now, why I'm saying Americans, it could be the British, it could be Americans, it could be anybody. Or it could be a big law firm in India, it could be anybody. So that's the third part of sourcing. What else gets outsourced here is, supposing I don't have a specialization in, say, in company work. So I go to another law firm and say, please do this for me. It's my client, but you please do this much for me. It's outsourcing. So that's a basic outsourcing that we know of. But the LPO outsourcing is what I explained to you. Also, what happens is writing text, writing notes, writing basic contracts, writing the draft contract. Also, track changes. If a lot of you may know computers, and track changes is a very important function that Windows allows us, which if I make a change, supposing my contract, okay, I send it by email to Jatin. He then makes his changes. He says, no, I don't like this and I don't like that. So he makes his changes. The change shows up on the document. Then it comes to me. I take some of the changes. I say, okay, I accept this, but I don't accept these. So what is not accepted, I leave. Or I make my further changes to that. That's the third level of change. Then there's a fourth level of change. It goes back and forth. This is a little difficult for the visually challenged. Also, what also happens is research. Research, and a bigger entity may not have the resources or the time to research. While an LPO employee, you, the visually challenged, have the time, have the resources, you have in the net, you need to research. So that's available, possible. So these are the LPO's possibilities that we can think about.
My question is not directly related to career in law for visually challenged,
Okay.
but it is somewhere related to persons with disabilities.
Okay.
There are 2-3 acts introduced by our government, that is Pwd Act and Rehabilitation, and one more act. So I found that there is much more difference. There are several acts, but implementation part is so much away from the acts. So what could be the reason? What could you can tell us? And secondly, who are the people or law experts who are dealing such affairs? Can you suggest some names?
I inquired with the government law college. In that, I found that there is no reservation for visually challenged. This is like against the Government of India Act. There's only they said that they have only reservation for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Is that true?
There is one more question related to this. I'll just take that also.
Yeah.
The Pwd Act part, when we approach companies like and they sometimes deny being visually challenged or even any differently enabled people. So during that process, companies themselves might not be aware of these Pwd Acts, and individual himself might not be aware of these acts and the details of these acts. So what can be done to make the company aware as well as the individual aware of these acts?
Okay. Let's start with the third law that you mentioned, the Pwd Act. Most of you all have heard of. Rehabilitation Council of India Act, correct? And the third is the National Trust Act, okay, which basically deals with cerebral palsy and other autism and all. Okay, so we are looking at the Pwd Act for the visually challenged now. Let's go into that for a second. Okay, implementation of the act. See, implementation is what we want to enforce. The government is there. They say, we will do this, we will do this, we will do this. Now you know it. And not only as visually challenged, but general. You know, unless I ask for my rights, I'm not going to get my rights. Okay? It's not like at home where even if I'm not hungry, the food is on the table. Okay. In all other situations, you have to ask. You say that the government law college doesn't have a reservation for the visually challenged, which is very bad. You'll have to write to them and say, how come you don't have it? You're a government college. There is a 3% reservation in educational institutions for the disabled. Okay. Out of the 1% is for the visually challenged. So let's write them a letter. See the response. It's a government college. There's no way it can't be implemented. The second thing about private companies. See, as such, the Pwd Act does not apply to private companies. It applies to government-aided organizations. The act is available. If people do not know about the act, that's quite bad. It's available. Don't tell me you don't know, okay? Because did you make an attempt to find out? It's available in all formats. There's an audio version of it available. There is a video available. Audio available. There's a large text. There is a e-text available. It's online. It's on lots of websites. So all seminars, conferences, they normally have a copy there. A braille copy is also available. So as far as we individuals have to go, we should know. There's no logical reason why we should not know for it. As far as others not knowing about it, obviously it doesn't concern them at the moment. So there is one case pending at the Supreme Court which says that the Pwd Act also applies to private companies. It's still not decided. The Bombay High Court has held that it is applicable. So it's in challenge. The company has gone to Supreme Court. It's in challenge there. So we'll wait for that. But assuming we'll leave that aside, reservation is being implemented. Whoever said, things are not happening. See, that look at two aspects of it. There's the educational aspect and there is the professional, the work aspect. Reservation of jobs is being done. Jobs are identified, which can be done by the visually challenged and by other PWDs. And there are reservations. People are applying for those jobs by the advertisements that come in, and they are getting recruited. It's slow. It doesn't happen very often, and a lot of times we have to go to court for it. These are the teething phases. It's a new law. Yes, it is 10 years old, but in India, 10 is very young. So you can't. So that's how it is, but it is coming along. Last year, we had to get the scribes judgment finally. Okay, so we've got the scribes. Now you have the additional time, you have a choice of scribe, you have a lot of things. But this happened in December. And in April, when Neha went to the university said, we don't know about it. And it's very surprising because university was sent 3 copies at least. So it happens in India. You can't help it, but you can't sit and grumble at home. If it's your problem, let's go and fight it. You have to write the right letters. You have to correspond properly. You have to follow up. Don't expect an organization or Kanchan to come and do it for you. Let's follow it up. I'll help you. But let's go ahead and find out how to do it. Okay? Your reservation question is answered, I think. And the implementation. Okay. It says that you will have accessible roads. The law says so. The roads have potholes. What can I do about it? And the implementation. How can I implement it? Have you bothered to write to the BMC in your ward and said, my footpath is broken? Forget being visually challenged. As a citizen of Bombay, have you done that? So unless you enforce it, it can't be enforceable. Nobody's going to do it for us. You know how it is in government offices. It's chai time, now it's lunch time, now madam, mera chutti hai, aaj ye hai, aaj wo hai. Okay, sabke office mein jana hai.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm Siddhi, and I want to ask, while arguing, what problems you come across, or the lawyer who seeks opposite you, is his approach changes to you, and did you come across any challenging case, and how did you deal with it?
Okay, I'll tell you what happens when you go to court. First, you can't see the judge's face. First, let's see the approach. When you enter. Now, just because law has changed over the years, and I told you, when I started off, it was 50% of arguing and 50% of being in office. In office, work is more for everybody. And because of the drafting, because of LPO work, there's lots more office work. Court has reduced for 2 reasons. One, because there are less matters in court. Also, there's a backlog and nothing moves ahead in court. And for us, for the visually challenged, it is tougher. Okay, it's no doubt, it's much tougher. I wish I could tell you it was easy, but it is not easy. You start off with going to court physically. Okay, you have to reach a court, okay, a court building. Then from there to go to the courtroom that you need to go to. Then you have to check the matter number. For the High Court of Bombay, you get the matters online on the computer the previous night. So you know okay, next day what your matter is. But the other courts do not have that. So like the Debt Recovery Tribunal, the criminal courts, you go in the morning at 11 o'clock and you check the number there. Somebody needs to check the physical board, which means it's stuck on the wall and somebody has to see. So low vision person also has a problem there. Assuming that you find out your number, you have somebody with you, the person checks, okay, mera number ye hai. So my number is 12. Chalo. I go into the courtroom and I'm waiting for my number to come. Sometimes the judge's associate, the person who stands below the judge, is loud and says, number 10, then you know, okay, you're going nearer. Then you head towards the table. It's a crowded courtroom. See, I'm not scaring you guys, but let me explain the scenario to you. It's a very crowded courtroom, okay? Then you go a step further. You go towards a table. There's a table, like the way I'm standing right here at the table, okay? Next to me, on my left or my right, will be the other side. All right. And there are chairs, and people are getting in and out. So I have to edge myself comfortably, slowly, and edge myself in. All right. Then the judge is facing. Now, he announces number 12. That's my matter. Okay. Number 12, so-and-so versus so-and-so. So I get up. My lord, I appear for so-and-so. I appear for the plaintiff or I appear for the defendant, depending, or the petitioner, respondent, whatever. So I say I'm appearing for so-and-so. And I stand there. Now, I don't know if the judge wants me to start or not. If I'm the one who's leading, I'm the plaintiff, I start first. But do I start now, or is the judge tying his shoelaces, looking up to the ceiling, or is looking papers, or is looking at his watch, or is he ready for me? I don't know. That is a difficulty that you and I are going to face always. But not unsurmountable. Somebody tells you, okay, now start. Okay, ab thero, 2 minute thero. My secretary tells me, ab thero. Okay. Then she tells me, okay, now start. So I start. Okay. Then I tell the judge, okay, you know, your lord, this is the story, this is it. Now can I refer you to page number so-and-so, line number so-and-so, paragraph number so-and-so. The judge won't even look. You have to point out the exact place in the document in front. Now here is where Braille comes to use. Most senior counsels, they write their points at the back of the brief. We as visually challenged, we hesitate. We don't write it out. We need to write it out in Braille or in any method that we know, in raised dots, in any way, in any format, that we can tell the judge, page number so-and-so, line number so-and-so, para number so-and-so, at the bottom of the page, at the top of the page, you know, all that. They even go to the extent of saying, your lordship, line 7 of paragraph 8. So you have to count those lines, and you have to come counted, and not on soft copy, but on hard copy counted. So this is your preparation. That means while every other person is preparing half an hour, you will take 1 hour to prepare. And if you're lucky, otherwise it's 2 hours. Okay, then you argue. Then at some time the judge is going to tell you shut up. But he can't tell you shut up, so he gives you a ishara. All this is visual. How are you going to stop? That's where the difficulty lies. Well, okay, so you learn to stop. Somebody touches you, keep quiet. Okay, you keep quiet. The other side starts. Then you want to interrupt the other person. Like me, I'm always butting in. What do I do then? Okay, because then I don't know whether he's going to give me a chance or whether he's going to continue talking. Well, assuming he gives me a chance and I butt in, fine. Then you get out. Most people understand that you cannot see, okay? Some people treat you, poor thing, like she's trying very hard, let her do argue. Some people say, wow, she's doing a great job, okay? The attitude is in life. Everybody looks at us like this in everything we do. So why not the law courts? It's not difficult. It's not impossible, okay? As far as my cases go, I have all kinds of cases, and I have funny ones as well. But I've had my brush with quite senior lawyers, and I've had a good time. What also happens is when you're a visual challenge, you don't see the judge's face. It's an advantage to some extent, okay? You're not scared of the judge. You know, when I started law, when I was practicing, when I first started law, I was visually challenged in the sense I had low vision, okay? I was so scared. I was really scared of appearing, okay? Now I can't see the face. I don't care. Makes no difference. So who he is opposite makes no difference, you know? So you have to, that inhibition goes away. So courts have their pluses and minuses. There are lots more minuses than pluses, but you have to work on the pluses because you have no choice. Because your clients want you to argue, you better go and argue. And ultimately, it's bread and butter. And you have to do a good job for your client because otherwise, everyone will say, oh, she lost the case because she can't see. And that's not the right answer. The case was quite bad, actually. But you can't allow them to say that. So you put in double the effort, triple the effort, and win the case. So that's how it goes. Sometimes the court tells you, write something down, madam. Now you make an undertaking. Suppose the client has not done something. He says, okay, now you write something. Then you have to do basic writing. You must know basic writing. Braille is one answer, but try to practice normal English writing. Or Hindi writing, or Marathi writing. Doesn't matter which. Whichever language you're comfortable with. Learn to sign. Don't only say on some impressions. Because in court, you have to put a signature there. Then suddenly you'll say, oh, I'll put a thumb impression. It just, I don't know, it just makes things different, you know. So to learn to sign, learn to write. These are the few things that you have to keep in mind.
Excuse me, someone was telling that thumb blind is not allowed to
No, no. Of course you can sign. Your signature. No, 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 not at all. No, 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 no. None of those things apply. You just have to see, every officer thinks that he is God. Okay. He thinks he can dictate. He doesn't want to open the rule book. Here again, the law. If you knew the law, you can open the book and throw it at him. Yeah, yeah. There is a. No, you can. No, see, there is this silly judgment that sits right now which says withdrawals you have to go personally. Okay. However, I have not gone personally. So it's really your thing with the. See, it's also difficult for me to go personally because my bank is a little, even if it's 2 minutes from the house, I need to have somebody to take me there or to try the roads of Bombay. Okay. Also, timings of banks. So why should a visually challenged person be put to more hardship than the sighted person? I still issue checks. There's no problem with it. You just need to convince your banks. I suggest you all be careful and push your way. Don't allow them to push you around. Because if somebody tells you that you can't sign, I can sign. Why should I not be allowed to sign? Learn to sign, learn to write.
The reason the bank give goes that if someone cheats you tomorrow, you will be blamed. The bank will be blamed as in the check is issued and it's signed and the money goes, and sometimes if you don't know where it's gone, it will be the responsibility of the bank.
Now you try to convince him on that one. Okay? It's not.
How can a blind person make himself or herself secure? That no one takes a wrong signature on a wrong document, or whatever.
Then always be a little mature about it, and see. No, no, no. Okay, I'll tell you how. See, a visually challenged person has this disadvantage of not being able to see what he's doing, right? You can do things, but you can't see what you're doing. I'm standing at the table. I feel that I'm standing, but I can't see I'm standing, right? Okay. How does it work then? You have to trust some people. You must not trust all people all the time. You must re-verify, okay? Verification is very important. Supposing your family member gives you a document and says, sign it here, okay? You can always say, can I sign it later? I'll give it to you after half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever. Let the person go away from that scene. I know it is sad, but as lawyers, you have to think in terms of, people are going to cheat you. People are going to be not correct. Therefore, you have to get it verified. You might have a reader and say, please read this for me. Somebody else reading to you who's not connected with the person who gave you the document is the correct person to get it read from. Read the document. Get it scanned. See, here computers help. Get it scanned. Ask your company to give you the contract as an e-copy. Please send it to me by email, just like the way you send your biodata by email. Get your documents by email as far as possible so you can read them yourself. So don't depend on anybody. Your check writing. Let's talk about checks now. Checks, there was this one incident recently I came across where somebody applied for a Tata phone, and instead of writing 2,500, the man, the person who from whom he bought the phone, some agent, put 12,500. Okay, that one, only the one in front of the 2,500. What happened was he didn't realize till his bank had debited him with the money. Bank said it's not our responsibility. The check was signed by you. Somebody has written the check out. You should have got it verified. How can you trust an agent to sign your check? To write your check. You can't. How can you write it yourself? Today there is software available on the computer, free of charge, which organizes your checkbook. You can print your own checks, and it's no big thing. You can, once you have written your checks yourself, then it's a question of signing it. Now you put a thumb impression or you sign it, this should not be a problem. But you got to write your check yourself.